Hey guys, Wyatt here, and welcome to week 1 of the 6-week case study. In this case study, we're going to be showing you how to build out an entire authority site from scratch. So everything's over the shoulder. You see every step, right? So in this video, we're mostly going to cover keyword research, niche research, and put together a list of initial keywords that we're going to go after. Keep in mind, I have no idea what niche that we're going to go into. I have no idea what keywords we're going to go after at this point. I'm putting myself in your position where you don't really know where to get started. That's what this whole case study is about. So it's going to give you that extra push. So you might have missed something, a few details in the actual core training that you'll be able to pick up just by watching over the shoulder. All right, so I wrote down the parameters here that we cover in the core training. These are just basic parameters that we recommend. Obviously, you don't have to stick to them. But starting out, typically you want to stay for your first keywords under 500K natural results. So that's, when you search something, you can see here it says about 99 million results. We want to keep that under 500,000, right? So how to lose weight, probably not the best keyword. Under 5,000 all in title, right? So if we type out all in title, we'll see over 2 million results. So that's definitely over 5,000, right? Okay, so, start. All right, typically, I would recommend going after something you know about, something you're maybe passionate about, but obviously you don't have to. That can just be an easy way to get started because you know a lot about the niche. It might not be the most profitable niche, right? I was thinking a little bit before this video about maybe what niches to go into for this or what keywords to go after. The only thing that really came to mind, which would be a good example, would be wrestling. I used to wrestle. I know a lot about wrestling, and my brother wrestled, my dad wrestled, and I know a lot about wrestling, right? So I feel like I know enough information to go out there and build out a site around it. Obviously, that's not necessary. You can just hire and pay $10 per an article or whatever if you don't want to write it yourself. But if you do want to write it yourself, save money, get started on a budget, you might want to know about the topic that you're writing about. So we'll look at wrestling and we'll see, and by that I mean just, like the sport, not like WWE, but actual like folk style wrestling in the United States. So let's just search for wrestling and see what we got here. It's a pretty broad keyword, but we'll scroll down. So these are mostly like fake wrestling stuff. Let's see. Let's type in folk style wrestling. So we have folk style wrestling history, folk style wrestling tips. We'll go there. So already we're at 18,000 natural results. So that's pretty low. But let's look at some other wrestling techniques, folk style wrestling moves. This is 23,000. So these are probably going to be pretty easy keywords, but these are obviously very targeted searches. Usually people only who do wrestling are searching for these keywords, right? Like folk style wrestling tips or folk style wrestling moves. This has 371,000, so that's a pretty big keyword for wrestling here. So let's go ahead and let's go with this niche, right? We'll be able to find some good keywords to go after. It's going to be very targeted visitors. I don't know exactly how we're going to monetize it, but that's not the most important thing. Getting traffic is the most important thing. You can always figure out a way to monetize later. So let's go with wrestling. Right now we have freestyle wrestling moves. So freestyle is a different style, like folk style, but obviously this is like Olympic style. So this is worldwide, which is why it gets more searches than say folk style. But let's start to build a list here. We're going to do some research in the Google Keyword Planner. But first I just want to build a list of potential keywords to go after. So we have freestyle wrestling moves. I'm just going to scroll down and see what Google gives us here. So collegiate wrestling moves. This looks like a great keyword. 58,000 natural results. So is that under 500,000? Yes, it is. And I can even do a little all in title. I'm sure it'll be less than 5,000. Excuse me. So 307, yes, definitely less than 5,000. Let's go back to collegiate wrestling moves. Okay, so we have wrestling half Nelson here. That gets a lot of searches, 382,000. But is it under 500,000? Yes, it is. So we'll add that to the list. Half Nelson is just a type of wrestling move. Let's see here. Defending the half Nelson. Okay, that could be another good keyword here, 300,000. So these are decently, pretty small keywords, but you're going to get traffic from these keywords. You're going to get very targeted traffic at that. These definitely do not underestimate these keywords, right? These are getting a good bit of searches, and we'll go into the Google Keyword Planner and see exactly if it shows how many searches, at least an estimate, but do not underestimate these keywords. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so I'm not really seeing anything too good down here. Let's go back and back again. So we have folk style wrestling move highlights. We could look up freestyle wrestling highlights maybe. So that gets 408,000 results. That's a good keyword. Now I'm just going to use my knowledge about the topic of wrestling to come up with some possible keywords here. We have Olympic wrestling highlights. That could be good. Let's do the same thing here. Let's look at our keyword list. So we have freestyle wrestling moves. So I know another style is, Greco-Roman. Could even be more specific, I suppose. Either way, I'll add this to the list. We got 168,000 natural results there. All right, perfect. So we're building up a good list. Now let me see if I can come up with anything else. Wrestling single leg. So that gets close to 600,000. Maybe if I add tips, we got 415,000, so that could be good. Let's add that to the list. Don't be afraid to add on modifiers like I just did there, like the word tips or techniques, something like that, depending on what niche you're in, of course. But you can, decrease the competition, make it by making it a little bit more of a long tail keyword. At least, that's a good way to start out and build out this initial keyword list. So I know another popular move here we could type in is head throw. So that has 4.9 million. Let's see, techniques, 769,000. We'll add it to the list. Now, I also know some buyer keywords that we could potentially throw in here, eventually at least. Something like wrestling singlets, 309,000. Okay, that could be good. Stuff like this we can easily monetize. We could even purchase singlets, from a wholesaler and sell them right on our site. Eventually, if we wanted to, if we were getting enough traffic and it was profitable. So let's see what else. Okay, maybe wrestling headgear. That gets 910,000. What if I do? Let me think. We'll just add that to the list for now. Or we could do something like, kids wrestling headgear, right? Which gets 609 or 637, which is less. So we'll replace that just so it's a little bit more of a long tail keyword. So that's a good initial list that we have built up so far. So now what I'm going to do is narrow this down to 5 to go after right away, right? To build out those first 5 pages, those first 5 articles. So Let's start to research some of these in a Google Keyword Planner. Oops, cannot type. And I'll sign in. So keep in mind, most of these had less than 500,000. I guess I'll just go ahead and paste this whole list in here. Natural results is what I was saying. So we'll go ahead and press Get Ideas and see what we got going on. Click on Keyword Ideas. And so for wrestling singlets, we get quite a bit of searches here, 12,000. For the rest of these keywords, they're generally pretty low, something like 320, 70, 50. These aren't extremely accurate. It's probably getting more searches than, actually definitely getting a lot more searches than this. That's just what Google AdWords is saying. Probably getting close to 1,000 is what I would guess. At least a few hundred. So these are definitely good keywords to go and build a site around. Now, because what we can do, even if these aren't getting a ton of traffic, we build up authority with these keywords. We start ranking for these, and then we're able to go out there and rank for keywords like wrestling singlets, which Google is saying gets over 12,000 searches a month, and we can easily monetize that keyword, right? Or wrestling headgear, which was another competitive one that we didn't put on the list. But these are all pretty good keywords. Here's another good suggestion: high school wrestling moves. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the list. So the Google Keyword Planner will give you suggestions as well. So that didn't work out, but let's see. All right, perfect. So we have this list. How do we decide, which keywords we're going to go after first? So just by what I'm thinking right now, freestyle wrestling moves would be a great one to go after. It got a good bit of searches, but the competition seemed fairly non-existent, and it met our parameters. Let's check this out by searching and see what we have. So we have Live Strong ranking at the top, which, Live Strong is a big authority site about health and fitness, right? So it's not even specifically about wrestling. So I'm pretty sure we can dominate this space. Obviously, there are wrestling sites, something like here, wrestlingmoveslist.com, probably an authority site, or the beginning of one at least. And we have Wrestling Tips 101. So this is on a WordPress domain. So yeah, pretty non-existent competition, right? We have some YouTube videos ranking right on the first page. We should be able to dominate this, no problem. Definitely a good keyword to start out with. And it's probably going to go for most of these keywords, right? Generally, if you meet those parameters, those basic parameters right here, you'll be looking pretty good. But also, if looking at the keyword planner, stay away, at least in the beginning, from high-priced, high-bid keywords, because that generally means, there's going to be more competition. Generally, that means it's more of a buyer keyword. And just starting out, we just want, targeted search keywords, stuff that's going to, generate traffic and build authority for our site. So obviously something like freestyle wrestling moves or college or collegiate wrestling moves with 30-cent bids, that's going to be pretty easy to rank for. So definitely a good way to start out. So freestyle wrestling moves would be a good one. Collegiate wrestling moves, wrestling half Nelson, defending in the half Nelson. Probably just pick one of those to start out. So I'm going to go ahead and compile a list before I even look at competition or anything like that. The first 5 keywords that I want to build pages for on our authority site. So let's see what we have here. So we're going to do freestyle wrestling moves. And we're going to do collegiate wrestling moves as well. And we'll do some specific moves here, like wrestling single leg tips. These are great keywords to start out with. Probably stay away from these buyer keywords in the beginning. We could do another specific move, wrestling head throw techniques. And we could even do something like freestyle wrestling highlights. Perfect. So, when we go about putting this site together in next week's video, we're going to take these keywords. We're going to have content written. So after this video, I'll probably go about ordering content for these, or I'll write it myself. Not sure yet. But either way, I'll be showing you where I ordered the articles from in next week's video. I'll probably order them, if I don't write them for myself, from SEOgenerals.com, or you could just find a freelancer, or there are plenty of other sites as well. I use this just because it's cheap. It's not always the best content, but it's usually pretty decent. So I could go ahead and pop these keywords into Google again, just check out the competition, but by the looks of it, shouldn't really be a problem, right? I mean, we have the same site ranking 4 times on this first page here, with some YouTube videos and some more wrestling sites. But these are great keywords to start out with. They're getting searches. They don't have a lot of competition. It's a good niche. Definitely a good niche to build your first authority site. And this is going to be an awesome case study. I'm excited, especially to go after this niche since I know so much about it, and to be able to monetize with maybe my own singlets or something like that. But it'll definitely be a fun case study. So in the next video, we're going to build out the first pages for these keywords. So stay tuned.